Hello, hello. It's Aaliyah with Daley Conversations, and I have a special guest with me, Andrea. And so I love to get to know our guests. So I'm going to let Andrea tell us something interesting about herself and then let us know who she is and what she does.
All right. Well, nice to see you again, Aaliyah. So my name is Andrea Hall. Something interesting about myself. So whenever someone asks me that question, the first thing that pops into my head was that I sung at Disney World and I auditioned on Broadway. I did get it. It was with a chorus. So our chorus got the part of playing in Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. I actually bowed out for other reasons, for religious reasons, but I was part of that chorus that was selected. So that's something interesting about myself.
What? You can sing?
Yes, I can sing. Now, ask my sister and my brother, they might tell you different because I used to torment them because I like to sing so much. I love
Oh
to sing.
my God. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
So that's something interesting that nobody pretty much knows about me unless you're like one of my students or one of my kids or something.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about who you are
Oh, yeah.
and what you do?
Yeah. So I don't sing for a living. That's not my day job. So I am the founder and executive director of Epic Homeschool Network, which is a homeschool co-op. We help families homeschool with confidence and clarity. So we have classes, we have field trips, we have clubs, but we're pretty much community driven. So we really kind of work with our community and what our community desires and we help to make that happen. So we're really hands-on. We had co-op today, which was always hands-on, always a lot of fun. And that's part of my labor of love. I'm also a certified math educator by profession. So I also still teach. I teach online full time for an online school. So that still allows me to homeschool my own kids. So yes, I still do homeschool my own kids. I do have three. They're older now, which really helps. I would not have gone back to teaching full time if they weren't older. So the fact that they're older makes me have a little more flexibility because they're more independent in their learning. So their ages 16, 13, 11, nope, 12, just had a birthday. So 16, 13, 12. So that's what I do for my day job. And then in addition to that, because teachers only make so much money, I still have my own organization, the Study Hall Education Consulting Company. So that is a for-profit organization. Epic Homeschool Network is nonprofit. So my for-profit organization, the Study Hall Education Consulting Company, we create curriculum. So I sell curriculum on Teachers Pay Teachers through the Study Hall EDU. And then I also teach classes on Outschool. And I just got a new contractor on with me because since, I can't teach all the time since I also teach full time. Got another contractor to come on with me to help me teach my study skills classes because that's one of the things I specialize in. So I also do that on Outschool through the Study Hall EDU. So yeah, I kind of wear many hats. I'm also the co-founder of Flourish Family Homeschool Conference, which is a major Black Christian homeschool conference that we have here in Georgia that comes up in January. So that's the other hat that I wear that I'm really excited about seeing because we have Jamie Grace coming, which is a Christian artist. We also have the Onyx family. They are pretty big on YouTube. And their homeschooling family, and they're coming as well. So we're pretty excited about that. So yeah, I wear a lot of hats. So when you ask me to tell you a little bit about me, we could just go down the rabbit hole.
We just keep going on and on. Listen, I love that. I think it's so beautiful when you can be multifaceted, especially, as a woman in general, like that, even just being a woman and doing all of these things.
Mhm,
In this
mhm.
time, I think it's beautiful. And I would love for since we were talking about like having so many hats, and I know, because I'm a mom, I'm an educator, I'm homeschooling as well. So I know the many hats, that you wear. How do you balance it all, especially when it comes to homeschooling? And I know you spoke on having older children, but where do you find that like work life balance?
All right. So I like to I compartmentalize very well. Okay, so I'm very good at compartmentalizing. So I focus on certain things on certain days, and I do certain things on different days. So one of the key things, though, I like to emphasize is I do have a day of rest. Every Saturday from Friday sunset to Saturday sunset, I do no work. Like I practice that. Like hands down, I practice that. So when people are like, how do you keep going and doing all this stuff? I think it's because if I didn't have a day of rest, I would have burnt out already. And there I do have some burnout tendencies, so I have to check myself on it. But I think that's really critical for me. And how I'm able to balance everything is that I there's a day of rest. I'm Christian, so I strongly believe in that. And your body will tell you, your body will tell you, your body actually, if you talk to doctors, your body has a natural with rhythm. It has a natural rhythm. And if you don't honor that rhythm, then your body will just tell you, I will make you rest. I will make you sick. So I follow that weekly rhythm. So that's one of the things I would like to say that first, that's how I kind of get that balance. That's one of the ways I get my balance. The other way is I do have, like I said, compartmentalize. So Epic is on Tuesdays. That's when we meet in person at our facility. I'm not actually teaching anything in Epic anymore because of the fact that I'm working full time. So what happens is I just get there real early so I can open up the building for everyone. I set up and I'm working and everybody works around me. If they need me, they know where to find me. But most of the time, my right hand, Tamika Slayton from Slayton Adventure Academies, and Kim from the Diva Hustle, they kind of keep things going around me. So, but on Tuesdays though, when I'm done with my other job though, that's when I kind of focus on anything that's epic related. So I kind of like to use Tuesday evenings as okay, anything I need to do for the homeschool co-op, I'm doing it on Tuesday. Sundays is also one of those days. Anything I need to do for Epic, I'm doing it on Sunday. Um, for the study hall, Sundays is a day that I do the study hall, and Mondays. So Monday and Sundays are the 2 days that I have set aside where I'm kind of pouring into what I need to do there and any task I do it on those 2 days. Um, and then of course my job takes over the week, the 40 hours. With my kids, they are here with me working. So during my lunch break is when I wake them up because, homeschoolers, I was trying to get them up when I got up, which was torture for them. So I said, well, you guys are homeschooling. I guess I don't need to make you get up when I get up. So, so I get them up like around my lunch break, which is around 11:30. So that's when I'll get them up and get them going with their day. And we touch base again at the end of the day. So probably like around 7:30, 8 o'clock, we touch base. We just started our reading time. So everybody's reading their own book, like whatever they're reading, just for like 15 minutes. And then we kind of share what we read about and book reports. And it kind of spirals from there. But really, I'm just like, just give me 15 minutes. And I mean, it's always longer than 15 minutes, but if we just do 15 minutes, 10 minutes. So that's how I'm able to make sure I keep touching base with my kids and connecting with them every day. Um, and yeah, that's kind of like how I keep it going. So I kind of, and then I'm really good with my planner. I have a digital planner, I have a physical planner, I do both. And what happens is I use my digital planner when I'm talking to someone, like you say, oh, let's have this meeting this day. So I get up my phone and I put it in my phone. But then once a week, either on Friday afternoons or Sunday really early in the morning, I'll get my physical planner out and I will copy anything that's coming up for that week into my physical planner. And by me writing it down, I actually kind of see how my schedule is mapped out for the week. And then I make adjustments. And then I do my my daily big 3, my weekly big 3. So I use a full focus planner system for myself. And then I also create like not a full focus. I created a homeschool focus planner for my homeschool. So that's kind of how I keep all that stuff balanced. But
Thank
I
you.
compartmentalize.
Listen, I was taking mental notes. I think a lot of the things that you said was going to help me with just being a little bit more organized. Like you said, compartmentalizing things so that you can stay focused on specific goals that you have. I would love for you to speak about your homeschooling journey, just because you have teenagers now, so it didn't always look like how it looks now. So if you could just walk me through like your journey and how it looks so different now from
Yeah,
when they were
girl.
like kids or
Oh, it looks
babies.
so different. Okay, so I homeschool from the very beginning, and I went into this like even when I was dating my husband, I was like, yeah, I want to homeschool my kids for the first 7 years. I only planned to do it for 7 years though. Seven was it. I was just going to stop at seven, and they're all going to go to school, and that was going to be it. And then when I got into the school system, my mindset kind of shifted. But but so when they were babies, what would happen is when they were younger, um, my husband was starting his plumbing business and I was teaching online. So it was really flexible because, you know, if I was doing something, he could work with the kids and do stuff with the kids. So that's kind of how we first started off. And then when my daughter turned 3 or 4, I think she had turned 4 because I'd given birth to my son. So now I had 3 kids under the age of 4. And I was still working, teaching full time, but I was online. And that's when I was like, I can't keep teaching full time online and homeschool the kids and take care of all these kids, right? So that's when I stepped away from teaching full time online and started creating curriculum for schools and teaching as an adjunct teacher, which meant that I didn't have to teach live. Like I only had to teach like once a week or something like that. So I still kind of brought in some income that way. But that's when, you know, my focus shifted and it was all them really. So it was really just them. We had what we called a table time in the morning, where we would have worship. We would come at the table, we would sit, have worship, eat our breakfast at the same time we were doing it. We would sing 3 songs, we would do our memory verse. Um, we would do our memory verse, we would do a reading, like I'll do like a reading, like I'll read a story or something like that. We would do our English together, our science together, our social studies together. So I use like different programs like Story of the World. Um, I forgot the other programs we used to use. Apology, I like their science. And I like their audios too. So we like to listen to audios and then we would talk about it. So we would do a lot of things together at the kitchen table, and then I would teach to my oldest, and the others would just be along for the ride. Um, so that's kind of how that journey went as I got older into, you know, more books. But my youngest, with my youngest, I was really like type A, like I want her to do this. I want her to be reading by the age of 3. I want her to be doing this, blah, blah, blah. But that's when I discovered a book called Better Late Than Early by Dr. Raymond Moore, who talks about it's better to allow your child to just learn naturally and just have fun and learning through play and just reading to them instead of having trying to do a formal environment. And I was trying to do a formal environment because I'm a teacher and I'm secondary. I didn't do elementary. So I'm high school. So that's kind of like, you know, older kids. So
Right.
um, after I read that book and got some information about that, I was like, oh, well, maybe I'm pushing my youngest too much. So that's when I kind of took a step back. So my like teaching them to read, I kind of just really went with how they were. Like if they were ready for it, I kind of just waited for the others. I used a book like How to Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. I would introduce it to them. And if I got a lot of pushback from them, I was like, okay, they're not ready yet. And I'll wait a month and then I'll do it again. And if I got a lot of pushback, I'll wait 2 months. So I really just went with the flow with them. And I know it's really scary. Trust me, it was kind of scary because they're around other kids, especially if they get around public school kids and they're doing all the things. And you're like, oh, am I setting my child up for failure? But now when I listen to them read, but they read with comprehension. A lot of
Speak on it.
they read with comprehension. So a lot of problems that I'm seeing now as an educator is, yeah, the kids might know how to read, but they don't understand what they're reading. They're not comprehending what they're reading because we did it too early.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Keep on
okay.
going.
No, go ahead, go ahead. I see. Get excited over
Listen, when I tell you I was gonna make a whole video about this concept of children not comprehending what they're reading, because I'm still substituting. So I resigned from teaching as well. and I'm substituting, upper elementary children, second grade, third grade for upper
Mhm.
elementary. And they have a hard time comprehending. But
Yeah.
my daughter, who I tried to pressure her to start reading at 2 years old, like at 2 years old, I had materials. I was teaching her letter sounds. And then I realized that it wasn't really working out, so I stopped trying to pressure her. And we're still not like reading every single day, even though she knows how to read and
Mhm.
put three CVC words together. But I'm not pressuring her. But she knows how to comprehend. When I say her comprehension skills is like this, and it
Yeah.
made me fall back. It made me realize like I don't have to pressure her to read because once she knows how to read, she's gonna understand
But she reads
everything
it,
that
yeah.
she's reading because I
Mhm.
talk to her a lot. I read to her a lot. We have real conversations, like
Mhm.
these things are like I'm noticing in homeschooling are way more important than actually the skill.
That's
She's
the
gonna
book.
get the skill, like you're saying, but
Mhm.
how can she utilize this skill? Does she know
Yeah.
how to like why this skill is important?
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you said that.
Yeah. So yeah, so like that's one of the things that I was like, okay. So I had to take a step back when I wanted to push too much. So my approach, when they were younger was really, just kind of going at their pace. I've explored different options. We've gone through time for learning, just didn't work. It was too much play. It was too much of a game for them. So when I asked them questions, they weren't like remembering anything. It was just like, I was just watching a cartoon. I was like, that's not what I want you to do. So we've
Wow.
that we've explored different things, workbooks. Whenever I'm talking to family and they're starting off, Spectrum workbooks are really great, right? Or Evan Moore has workbooks, but I'll kind of do those workbooks as I was getting to know my children and their learning style. And then we kind of settled into some rhythms. So like I like Matthew C, I like IEW. So we kind of gotten into those things. So um we would meet once a week with our homeschool group. We would meet at the library. And then, when the pandemic hit, after the pandemic, during the pandemic, we met at the park. So we still kept doing field trips. We just explored all the parks in Georgia, a lot of them. And then after the pandemic, we actually did like a 2-day a week program. So we would come in and meet together. So 2 days a week on first it was Monday, Wednesday, and then it was Tuesday, Thursday. And then we realized it was kind of taking away from our homeschooling. Like having a 2-day week program was making it more like a school, which is not what we really wanted. So we went back to just 1 day a week, which is where we are. So we've gone through ups and downs. I've always had the support of the homeschool network. At first we were South Cobb homeschoolers and now we're Epic, but I've always had the support of other, like doing it with other moms, which has also been encouraging because you talk to the moms and hear what they've been using, and then we get to share and go back and forth about it. So yeah, that's my home.
Oh. Such a beautiful journey. I am like for me, it's like I'm looking forward to all the things that my daughter will be interested in, all the things that she will learn. I think that I really look forward in her homeschooling journey to her really like following her passions and like doing the things that she
Yeah,
actually loves because those are things that I didn't get to do because I went to public
yeah,
education. There's a lot of things that people like children in school don't get to do. So I would love
yes.
for you to speak on like because you have a long history of homeschooling. Your children are well into their teens now. And so I would just love for you to talk about like maybe the benefits of homeschooling, like some positive
Oh yeah.
impacts that you've seen,
So like
and like why you decided to homeschool.
Yeah, so, like, even now I can see I see it now, like, so much. My oldest, she just finished doing a pitch competition, so she did, over the summer, a program called the Young CEO, summer camp with Urban Business League, so it's for, young adults ages 16 to 24, I think, or 21, 16 to 21 or 24, and they pretty much walk them through starting a business from like actually for like formal legal formation, registered with the Secretary of State, um, creating your business plan, meeting with other business experts, like the whole shebang. Like they met twice a week, um, or once a week, twice a week. Yes, twice a week for like 4 hours. It was pretty intense. And then at the end, they had a pitch competition where they actually had to pitch their idea to judges, and they would get a prize. Like I think like they got a monetary prize, like $2,400 for the first place, something for the second place, and for the third place. My daughter was the youngest, so she was 16. Well, she still is 16, but she was the youngest in the entire competition, and she got second place. And they said they never
Wow.
seen someone so articulate and mature, at such a young age. So and she got second place. So I was like, and I, you know what, like how you have some families where the mom does it, but they let the kids stand up front. She did it, right? I did nothing. All I did was her transportation, and even on her business, like she had to have like a structure, like who's in her business team, like who she's hiring, and I was her contractor. I was her transportation. So that's really all I was. I just took her where she needed to be, and she did it all. So, seeing like all of that come full circle and seeing your children just blossom and take it over and know that they'll be all right. That's like the biggest thing. And I think the biggest aha though for me was like when my birthday happened, not this year, but last year for my birthday. My kids said they cook me, they make me lunch, dinner. They made it from scratch. Like, and we're vegetarian. Well, we're pescatarian, but mainly vegetarian. So they got the beans and they made the burgers from scratch. Like, I mean, like from scratch, not like go to the grocery store and buy the vegetarian burger. Like they made it from scratch. They made
What?
me a cake from scratch, like a nice pound cake. They made everything from scratch. And I was just, and then they put it on like a nice charcuterie board or whatever.
Wow.
Brought it to me. And I was like, wow, from when they were younger, I started them off at practical arts when they were younger, like sorting, socks, right? And sorting socks is actually like a mathematical concept. Like they're learning how to sort and put things in order, color code. Those are skills, right? Seeing them do that, having them on the chair, washing dishes with me, right? So it would be me, them on the chair, and then, them on the chair, me, and I'll put them in the dish rack. So, we would go through these practical skills, teaching them how to make eggs, right? Like my kids, that's the first thing they learned how to do. Like when they were like 7 years old, I started them with scrambling eggs. I would turn on a pot, of course. I would turn on the stove. I would turn off the stove. So still safe, but I would get them started on these little skills early, but seeing how all these little things come full circle when you think, ugh, and you get tired and whatever, but seeing them all come together as they get older. So like seeing that happen last year for my birthday, I was like, oh, and even now when they go and they visit with their friends and they leave me and my husband at home, and I look at this sink and I'm like, I miss them already.
Listen, I can't wait. I
Yeah.
know exactly how you feel.
But girl, I see your little one. Let her, I hope she's up there washing dishes. For a moment of time, though, I only did like plastic dishes because I wanted them to wash dishes. So everything was plastic. Now everything is glass because I really don't like warming things up in plastic. But when it was that training time, everything was plastic. That's what we ate from because y'all need to wash these dishes. And then as they got more mature, we would do, the porcelain, the harder glass or whatever. But, I know it's hard. For me, it was hard. Um, but yeah, they would be, and I don't even know if they remember it because in their mind, they always knew how to make a pound cake. They always knew how to wash dishes. You just think you just did that by osmosis because I don't really do anything anymore. I'm kind of spoiled. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit spoiled.
Oh,
Hard though. I work hard. But as far as things around the house, they really take care of it now. So all of those little seeds that you plant now, they will grow. You just have to be patient and diligent and consistent.
wow. That is so beautiful. You gave me a lot of hope. Cause listen, we practice, okay? We practice, but like I don't try to force her. Like I know she's at an age where she can clean up, and when she wants to, when she wants to help, I will allow her sometimes to help. But then sometimes I'm like, I just want to get this done.
How old is she now? How old is she?
She's 5, so she's gonna be turning 6 November 30th next month.
Nice. So she making up
Yeah.
her bed?
She she's she still co-sleeps with us. So well, we
Okay.
we still make the bed. Like I make the bed.
No,
It's been
she needs to
hard.
help you make that bed, girl. Even if that's happening, she's on one end and you on the other end.
I That's something that we're working on. We really like I really am working on the cleaning skills. She loves to cook. Like she will come in the kitchen, help to clean to cook. But when it comes to cleaning, she likes to make the mess. But when it comes to cleaning, she does not like to clean. And so I've been trying to like something that I've been trying to do is like make a song about cleaning or cut on music or like make it into a
Make it
game
fun.
or
But you
something
know what?
fun.
Sometimes I have to tell my kids because they got to this point where they were like, everything's supposed to be fun. I was like, there's some things you're gonna have to do. It's not fun. You just have to do it. You're just gonna have to do it. It's not fun. It's just a responsibility. Do you think I like going to work every day? Do you think daddy likes going to work every day? My husband's a plumber. Do you think he likes us? You know what he has to do.
Right.
But sometimes, so I just have to kind of remind them about that part. But this is
Yes.
the age though. That age right there, you're at that age. That's the age right there.
Yeah, no, Tyler, this age has been listen, from 3 to 5, I just been holding on to a thread, praying, praying, praying close and keep staying close in prayer because
Yes, keeps you on your knees. We all have
right.
one, at least one.
Yeah, so I do only have just one. And listening to you and your journey and how you had what would you say 4 or 3?
Three, girl.
3?
Don't give me extra.
3? 3, I was just like, "Listen, okay, I'm still trying to work with my one, like, all of the stuff that you share, I'm just like, I can ease my way into it, but I appreciate all the gems because it's nothing like a mom with multiples, homeschooling, and you have a business and you're just doing it. Like you're very inspiring. So I'm glad that you joined us on the on this podcast today. I do have a question about business.
Okay.
Because I'm starting a business, you have a business, you also have a nonprofit, and you also are co-founder of another. Is that a business or a nonprofit? The Florida
It's a
Homeschool.
nonprofit. So Georgia Black Home Educators Network produces the Flourish Conference. So it's a nonprofit.
Okay, awesome. So just you're in nonprofit work and you also have a business. So I just would love for you to just I honestly don't know where to start, but I really want some encouragement. I really want some encouragement and like some tips on, I guess, really staying motivated through business when you are a parent. Because it can be hard. Like right now, I'm trying to do a podcast. I'm trying to like do but I have my daughter right here, and she's right now she's drawing, she's coloring, but it kind of took her a minute to get over there and get focused on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
task at hand. But now that we're here, I would just love for you to speak on that, like business and parenting.
So I feel like I'm always looking for that balance. Like even now, like even though I have a rhythm and it seems like I've got a rhythm, it's still like there's still ebbs and flows. But how do you keep the motivation? I think being clear about your vision and what you want can really help give you direction, like being really clear about it. Um, so that's really what kind of kept me going in all of the businesses. So like even now, like what motivates me with the study hall, EDU, for a moment I had kind of let it die down because I was like, I don't think I need it. But I want to see my family. My family lives all over the world. Like my dad is in Bahamas. My dad's family is from Barbados, so that's where my grandmother is, and she's about to turn 100. My mom lives in Tobago. My sister is in Washington State, not Washington D.C.,
Right,
Washington
right.
State, and I'm over here in Georgia. So I want to see my family, and if anybody knows about the teacher salary, it's true, girl. That's pennies on the dollar. So, but I still feel like a calling to do it. So because of that, you know, that motivates me for the study hall, right? For that business. It motivates me because I'm like, okay, I want my kids to have this experience. I want them to be able to travel, to see their family, to get connected to their roots. So because that's what's fueling me, that keeps me motivated to do the things when I don't want to do it, like to work when I'm off on other jobs, like when it's time off, I'm still going because I have a vision. I have a purpose for that. Like I want them to see the world. And in order for them to see the world, I pay for it. Um, so that keeps me going with the study hall. With Epic, what kept me going with that is my vision to enrich, enhance, and empower home education. Like seeing the fact that there were more at the time when I started homeschooling, there wasn't many people of color homeschooling. I was the only one in my group that was a person of color when I first started. And then as more people of color came, um, everyone else left. It was kind of like the Great Migration. I don't understand. But
Wow.
I mean, I still have a few. I have a faithful few who are still there because we're not like a Black homeschool group. It just kind of ended up becoming that way. We're a multicultural homeschool group, so we still have different ethnicities in our group, but and a few who stayed. But um, wanting to provide resources though for the community really drives me, like helping wanting other people to see, like when I see other families who are trapped in a public school system but it's not serving them. Not to say anything's wrong with public school, but there's certain systems that don't work well for certain kids. Like this is just not your environment, but they feel trapped and they don't see another way. So having that burden and that passion and that vision to really help other families kind of keeps me going with Epic. And then I just have a personal calling to homeschool my kids. So that's what keeps me going with my homeschool. Um, the verse, I mentioned that I'm Christian, so there's a verse in Deuteronomy, I think it's chapter 6, teach them diligently when they rise up, when they go to sleep. I don't have it memorized, but I should. I think it's verses 6 to 8, but that really kind of keeps me going. And the fact that I felt like God called me to do it. So I got into homeschooling, not really by plan. I mean, I've seen other people homeschool, my aunts. I have two aunts, my Auntie Laverne and my Auntie Judy. They both homeschooled their kids. They actually did it completely different. They did it completely differently. One was more structured, one was more laid back. But I saw them homeschooling their kids and I was like, oh, that's cute. That's all I thought was, ooh, that's cute. When I went to Oakwood College, which is an HBCU, I went there to study for education, to become a math teacher. And when I was doing my general education courses, they talk about the first 7 years of a child's life are the most formative. That's when everything takes shape. That's the most important years of a child's life. And they really got into it really deep. And I don't even remember everything that was said. I just remember the first 7 years of a child's life are the most formative. And that's when I felt impressed. I was like, well, if the first 7 years of a child's life are the most formative, why would I want to give that to anyone else? I want to be in charge of that. So that's when I decided I'm going to homeschool for the first 7 years. That's what I plan to do. So that's when that seed was planted. How did we get to age 16 and I'm still homeschooling? When I was in the school system and teaching high schoolers and seeing everything that they were going through and some of the issues they have to battle with and being in the public school, I said I didn't want my kids to have to go through that. I know that they're going to have to face the real world and that they will go through things, but I just don't feel like certain things they should have to go through at that young of an age and be exposed to at that young of an age. There will be a time and a place for it. I just don't feel like that's the time or the place for it. And to not know the adults who would be there to help handle it and help mitigate it, that was just not the place I wanted my children to be in. So I just kept homeschooling. I said, I guess I'm just going to keep homeschooling. And then I was like, okay, I need a job that will allow me to homeschool and still work to help as my husband's business was growing. And that's when I started looking into teaching online and discovered it.
Can you talk about the beauty of business? Like, how has business helped you to homeschool?
Oh, oh, the flexibility. Oh, the beauty of business. Oh, yes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like you hear, I'm working another job now, like a full-time gig in addition to running my business. This is actually my first time in 10 years working a full-time job. And it was such a culture shock after not being full-time for 10 years. Um, you can go when you want to go. You can plan your schedule the way you want to plan it. You are in control of your world when you just run your own business. The only caution is, even though you're in charge of your own world, you still need to run a business. Like if you're working for somebody, you still need to put in that time in order for it to grow and develop. It's beautiful when you run your own business, and running your own business allowed me to be able to go on all the field trips. So like I said, when they were younger, it was great. I could go on all the field trips. We went on a field trip like at least once a month, but I promise you it was probably twice a month. We went out every week. We just had that flexibility to go when we wanted to go, do what we wanted to do. And having a business that you can set your own schedule allows you to do that. Um, Girl, just talking about it makes me be like, how long am I going to stay? My full-time job. Um, so yeah, business just allows you that flexibility to really homeschool and really dig into it. So it's a beautiful thing. So if you can grow that and go with that, that's amazing. I think for me, what made me go back was the fact that my oldest is 16, so she's looking college in the face. And for me personally, my business wasn't where I wanted it to be able to pay for her college. So that means I need to go ahead and have a job that would pay the bills and then continue my business that could help pay for her college. I still want to get scholarships and things like that, but to pay for her college, to pay for us to travel, if I want to do all these extras, we need extra.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yes.
what made me go back to working full time, but I'm not letting go of my babies. And if ever my full-time job looks at me and says, well, you can't keep doing, oh, I mean, I still do my job and I do my job well, but if they ever look at me and say, you can't keep doing Epic and you can't keep doing the study hall because we feel like if you're taken away, I'm like, well, thank you for your time. I guess I'm resigning today. So I'm really like about that life. So those are my babies. They help me to have the flexibility to do what I need to do for my children. So if my full-time job ever gets in the way of that, I don't have a problem walking away. And if
I
anybody
love
knows how to
that.
listen, then I already know. I don't have a problem. I love y'all, but I will walk away. I almost had a moment earlier this year. We're not going to talk about it. Uh, but
Listen, so many people have a hard time walking away from things that no longer serve them. So when you homeschool, it puts you in a different position, like a different mindset. You see things
yes.
just totally different. Like you said, you have the time to just really analyze your life and where you're at and where you want to see yourself going, and how you can get there. Really start to think about ways of how you can create the life that you want to live, even when you don't have the thing like the necessary means to do it. You
Yeah.
still find ways to live the life that you want to live. And so I
Yes.
want to ask you this question because I hear so many people saying this. Do you think homeschooling is a privilege?
Only if no, honestly, homeschooling is a sacrifice. It's a
Speak
sacrifice.
on it. Speak
It's a
on it.
sacrifice, and you really just have to be willing to make the sacrifice. Because it's a sacrifice. Because I know moms who are single moms and they're homeschooling, but they're making the sacrifice. It's a sacrifice of income. Like even like I told you, I just went back to teaching full time 2 years. Like I'm going back into my second year, so 10 years. That meant that there were certain things I couldn't say yes to. Like my sister wanted to go on this fancy vacation somewhere. My girlfriend is going to Dubai or whatever, and they want to go. I can't go. That's just, so that's a sacrifice. Certain places my kids want to go and do, I'm sorry, we can't do that. We don't have that extra income to do that because we're making that sacrifice. Um, you aren't going to be, for a moment of time. And so when I'm talking about, being a business owner, it's not always fun and games. Like we got our healthcare from the marketplace, right? So, you have certain options from the marketplace and you got the options that you could afford from the healthcare marketplace. For periods of time, we had to use, our SNAP benefits. We went ahead and got those food stamps, right? That was a sacrifice, right? Because, you're not able to eat out and do all the things. rice and beans. My husband said he's tired of beans. So that's a sacrifice, right?
Yes.
Um, our vacations when we don't, I mean, I'm planning now to take my kids to Barbados to see, to see my grandmother when she turns 100, God willing, in January. Um, but a trip like that, I wouldn't have been able to do if I wasn't like working. Like as a homeschooler, I would have to tell my family, I'm sorry, I can't do it. And then sometimes, some of my family members would sometimes step up and step in, which is very humbling, very humbling because, you used to be, especially if you used to be self-sufficient and
Yes.
it's humbling. So there's that sacrifice. You know what's interesting though? I think people look at your life, they envy it, and they think that it looks like something that it's not. Like I promise you, when people look at my home, they probably look at my home and think I'm rich, but they don't understand how God blessed me with this home. Like, like, like it was nothing but the Lord. Like I got this home on foreclosure. It was on a foreclosure list. We
Mm.
saw this home. The day that we called them was the day they put it on the market. It was like, and God directed me to go out and look in this neighborhood. Because I was actually going to look at someone else's house. But he directed me to the neighborhood and I saw the house and I was like, oh, that house is too big. It's beyond our budget. And I got home and talked to my husband and he was like, well, did you look it up? And I said, no, because I already know it's beyond our budget. Oh,
Mm.
no,
Gotta
okay.
talk yourself out of a blessing.
And God just worked it out. It was on foreclosure. And even with the realtor, it just the floodgates just open. So even my home is a testimony, but people might come and look at it and be like, y'all rich. And I'm like, no, God just God just made it look that way. So God really just he makes you look privileged. Um, but they don't understand the sacrifice. There's sacrifice behind it. So homeschooling is not a privilege, it's a sacrifice. If you're willing to make the sacrifice, the blessings will come and you will look privileged, but it's a sacrifice.
Yes, I'm so glad that you said that because I tell people that all the time. I'm like, when I decided to homeschool, I'm not rich. Like I was like you said, I'm a teacher. We don't get paid a lot of money. When I decided to homeschool, I did that because I made a sacrifice. I did not want to put my daughter in the education system. She was getting older. The pandemic was happening. It was just a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of different changes within education, and I was just like, I'm not for this. Like
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to put my daughter in this situation. So I had to make that choice. It was really an intentional choice. And we lost income as a family. Like
Yes.
that's hard,
Girl,
you
yes.
know?
Oh,
And I
yes.
was like, oh my goodness, like some days I think like, oh my gosh, like did I make the wrong choice? Because I'm not sometimes it feels hard on me to not contribute financially to my
Yeah.
family. I'm so used
Yes.
to doing it. And now that I'm in this new position where I'm absolutely not making anything, like I would
Yeah,
just be
yeah.
honest. Like there's from me, like no, like it's different for me, to
Yeah.
be in this
Yeah.
position. It's
I know.
hard. And
Girl,
I
I
just feel
know.
like
What I
people
went.
like you said, people feel like, I may have it all together or that my life is perfect or where and I'm like, no, it's not that. I'm in here struggling. It's just an intentional choice, and
Yes.
it's a sacrifice.
Yeah. And I mean, I tell you, I felt some kind of way when I went into that DFAX office for the first time to fill out an application and get my SNAP card. I felt some kind of way. I was like, ooh, never done this before. But
Yeah.
and we have so much pride about certain things, but these resources are here. And it's not that you're doing it because you're trying to just skate by, but you're making an investment into the future of this, not only for your family, but also for our community. Because I think a lot of problems that we're having is because parents are not teaching their own kids. You are actually making an investment into the future. You're taking the time to train your kids so that they could be good citizens, so that they can actually help the community. And you're investing into the future. You're taking that time to invest into the future. And I think that's probably one of the key things that's missing with our kids, with the generation that I'm seeing, that I'm teaching, is that, we're not making, parents aren't making that investment in their kids. They're not taking the time to train their kids, to teach their kids, because they really don't think that they have it, but they do. So taking that time and taking that resource to help you do that for a period of time, nothing wrong with it. And I think I felt some kind of way about it, but if other people can take it and use it for other reasons, you're doing it because you need to support a family. You're making this sacrifice so you could, pour into your family. And they're benefiting the society. So I kind of felt some kind of way. But then I got over it. I got over it. And I was like, yo, this is what we need to do. This is a season of life that we're in, and this too will pass. And, it did. So I don't want everyone to look at my journey and be like, oh, she always had it together. No, there was a lot of crying and a lot of gnashing of teeth and a lot of prayer. But God he always provided. He always provided. He always provided. And he just made us look like we were just always high in a hog. And I just don't understand how the Lord made that happen. But he does. Like, people, I promise you, people think we're rich. I don't understand how, but I promise you, people think we're rich, but it's the Lord. And even with the different businesses, God is blessed. But it seems like if God just says, I'll give you this much and no further, I was like, okay, Lord, I'll take that much and no further. All right.
Yeah, listen, because we honestly and truly, we just don't look like what we've been through. And so we know that whatever God has for us, when it's ready and the gates open, the flood is coming, and it's coming. We have to be ready, like you were saying, especially in business. It's like we're starting a business. You have to work like you want it. You have to work like you want this business to flourish and to grow, and
Mhm.
for your blessings to come in.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of work. And it takes a lot of work in parenting. It takes a lot of work in homeschooling, and anything that we do is going to take work. But I
Yeah.
love how you said that your blessings will come in.
Yes. I will tell you one secret though, when they were younger. Um, I did everything before they got up. So, like, people are like, I don't hear girl, they still sleeping. Yeah, some people be like, how late do your kids go to sleep? Well, we're not going to talk about that right now. Okay. So I'm a morning person. I'll be the one up at 5 a.m., 8 a.m. My kids are still sleeping, and that's when I'll get all the work done. I plan to get as much of everything done that I need to get done before they woke up. So as we talk about seasons and, as we were talking about that, I was like, I didn't share that, but that was something that, I really, that was a thing, even to the point where at church, my son he was always quiet at church. We could sit through the sermon and watch, enjoy the church service because he was sleeping. Right.
Wow.
And people were like, how do you get your son to be so quiet and to sleep during church? In the back of my head, I was like, well, you don't know what time my son went to bed. So it was good. But what happened was, I kind of had to figure out the best times. Like, I'm a morning person. My kids were not. They're like my husband. So I did, like, when they were younger, I found my sweet spots of my chunks of time that I could work when they were not around at all.
Yeah, I'm a morning person too. I try to get up before everyone, just to kind of get my head together, clear my
Yeah,
mind,
yeah.
whatever to clean up, anything I need to do, even like cook breakfast or whatever before everyone gets up. And so the only reason why I started giving my daughter a bedtime is because I felt like a little judged, and I had like a little pressure from everyone that was like, "Oh yeah, my child goes to bed at 8. My child
I
goes to
still
bed
think it. I believe in bedtimes. Let me just get it straight. My husband and I used to argue about this. I do believe in bedtimes, so I think you're doing great. girl and we have a bedtime. But after a while, after fighting for so long, I started seeing the bright side of things. I'm like, hold on a second. What?
Listen, my daughter, like when I let her stay up for till about 10 or 11, she sleeps in. If I take her, she go to bed at 8 o'clock. She's up at 6, 7.
So look, I had a heart to heart because I was talking with one of my girlfriends. She homeschools too. And I'll be like, my kids are just staying up way too late, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I was complaining about it because I wanted the early bedtime, right? And she's like, but if they go to bed early, that means they're getting up early. What you gonna do with them in the morning? I was like, now that you mention it, she's like, why are you trying to just that's why you keep trying to fight it? It's like, why am I trying to fight it? I like my mornings, they're quiet.
We gotta break that mold, and it's so hard. But the reason why we still trying to get bedtimes is because kids got to go to school, and it's like we still sometimes have
I mean,
that.
but they do need to grow, though. They do need to grow.
They
They do
do.
need to grow. They do need to grow. So I am still trying to work on this bedtime thing, but I'm just not finding it that hard, though.
I feel you on that. Trust me, I do. So to wrap it up, because my daughter is on one. So to wrap it up, I would just love for you to give some encouraging words to parents who may be thinking about homeschooling, or who may feel like they don't have the confidence to homeschool. Just give some encouraging words for our parents out there.
Um, you can do it one step at a time. Um, just one step at a time, really. Is really what it is. You don't have to know the end from the beginning. One step at a time and get involved in a community. Like get involved with some other homeschoolers, or even if it's just one homeschooler, like just get being able to talk and have a conversation could really help you throughout your journey. So if you're really thinking about it, just go ahead and have a conversation with someone about it, another homeschooler, or just get connected to the community. And I think community is really important. I think that's part of one of the reasons I'm able to stay homeschooling for so long. I've seen people come and go, throughout my journey, like some people who decide, oh, I'm going to do it for a hot second, and then they don't stay with it, but they never really plugged into the community. So when you plug into a community, it'll help you really stay the course. Think about the reasons why. Like, what's your vision? Like, what is the reason why you're thinking about this homeschool journey? I think being clear about that would also help keep you in the journey and help give you clarity on if this journey is for you. So I was very clear about what I wanted to create for my kids. Um, I wanted them to be 21st century Christian leaders who would stand for God, though the heavens fall. That was a vision I had for them. I wanted to teach them diligently, and I couldn't see myself being able to do that with them being in a public school, um, and just giving them the opportunities to grow and flourish at their own pace. I couldn't see myself being able to do that at a public school. So being clear about my vision and what I wanted for my children kind of helped me stay the course when there were days when I wanted to put them on a public school bus. Um, so, um, but you can do it. No one needs to be an expert. And yes, I am a teacher by profession, but honestly, I feel like if that's more of a hindrance than it is a help, because there are a lot of things that I had to unlearn as I'm homeschooling my kids. Like I said in the beginning, I wanted my kids to be like duh, 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 until realizing that I need to be more relaxed with their learning. So to be honest, you don't have to be a trained educator to homeschool your kids. I think you actually have a blessing in that, because now you're able to just go with the flow and you're not fighting against what the system says you should do.
Yes.
And the system doesn't necessarily work for every kid. So don't let the fact that you're not a trained educator hang you up. You are the parent, you know your child. So just get to know them, have conversation, plug into the community, and really just have some fun with it. Just have some fun with it.
Thank you so much. It was so good talking to you. I know it's time for us to wrap it up. it was yeah, this was really I needed to hear this today. Okay, like I really did. Homeschooling is not an easy journey, you all. It's fluctuations, it's ups, it's downs.
Oh, yes.
But like you said, if you plug into the community, you can find people that will motivate you and you can stick through it. You can do it. You really can do it. So thank you again, Andrea, for joining me. You all, this was Daily Conversations with Aaliyah Daily. Peace.
Bye.